Welcome everybody. We are back at Califorrnithon at AOD. We are just getting into the later parts of the first day of this marathon, and we will be continuing throughout the rest of the weekend. We are jumping in here on Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga with Murmilio. Murmilio, would you like to introduce yourself, the game, and your co-commentator over there?
Yeah, my name is Murmilio, and this is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga at any percent. It's a very crazy run, just to say the least, if you've never seen one before. And
I could vouch for that. I tried learning this game. I'm Ghost King G1. Yeah, this is a crazy run. There's a reason this run is often considered one of the killers of the 12-hour challenge, as in nobody has actually been able to complete this game in a 12-hour challenge. If you know what that is, learn a speed run in 12 hours. It is, well, you'll see.
yeah.
It's quite a special run.
All right, and timing starts in 3, 2, 1, go. So while like the introduction cutscene is going on, I just want to remind everyone there is a donation incentive for a glitch exhibition at the end of this run. So you'll really want to see that, especially once I start doing glitches during the run as well.
It's kind of similar theme in the Mario RPG series. This is the first of the Mario and Luigi series, but the third Mario RPG overall. And the plot of this game is the neighboring ambassador sent the Mushroom Kingdom meant to send them something nice, something of goodwill, but it turns out it was actually a trap. And this mysterious beanie-looking figure, who may or may not be a very popular character, and also the other one may not be the main villain of this game,
but he's probably the most popular, actually.
Yeah, so they just stole the Princess Peach's voice. So naturally, an emergency has occurred. It's up to the Mario Brothers to save the day.
So the first thing we actually have to do is grab Mario. He's actually just taking a quick shower, as all hell's breaking loose at the castle.
If I may interject for just a moment. We did meet our incentive for the glitch exhibition for this game.
Wonderful.
So you guys do not need to donate more to that. We actually got the last few donations in. To get those real quick, Mighty Tooth with $20 and VB donating $20. Hi, Merm. It's getting late on the East Coast, but I needed to stay up to watch this 114 you're going to get. Wish I could have been there to race you in the other silly GBA game. Good luck, have fun, your friend, VB.
Thanks, Phoebe.
So naturally, it looks to the Mario Brothers that Bowser's the one responsible, as always. So if you're familiar with the Mario RPGs, all of the Mario RPGs are turn-based RPGs in which you play as the bros, and as this Toad is about to demonstrate, they have timed button presses for where if you time your attack by pressing a button immediately before Mario makes contact, it does additional damage. The Mario and Luigi games in particular added something really special, which was that you can actually outright dodge every attack in this game, and certain attacks you'll learn later you can actually counterattack. So this actually works really well for the speed run because you don't actually you can beat this game at as low of a level as possible. It just becomes more difficult and less forgiving to do so.
Yeah, Ghost King was actually saying how the Toad would actually show me what action commands were, but there's a few cutscenes for tutorials that I can actually skip throughout the run.
And it's nice because you can actually cancel those by just quickly pressing a button. In later games, sometimes you have to manually set the option in. Yeah, I speedrun Partners in Time, the sequel to this game, and I've been known to accidentally say yes to a lot of tutorials in that game.
Yeah, there's quite a few tutorials throughout the Mario and Luigi series.
So the first thing Merm's going to do here is he's going to pick up a mushroom. He doesn't actually use mushrooms as items. They do heal a little bit amount of health, but they're more important for an item that we're going to pick up much later in the run that absolutely breaks this game from a battle standpoint. There's plenty of other ways to break this game without having outside of battles, I should say.
Yeah, throughout the run, item collection and coin collection is very big, just so we can get that one item later on. Here we're just going to get some last-minute preparations before we end up going to the other kingdom.
Yeah, so we're heading to our western neighbor, the Beanbean Kingdom, which is apparently new to the Mario universe and has sadly not been seen much since. Although we have still seen recurring characters from this game because the Mario and Luigi series actually was pretty successful.
So Bowser ended up actually teaming up with us to save Princess Peach's voice.
Yeah, kind of a thing with Bowser is he always wants to kidnap the princess for his own selfish needs, I guess. But since her voice has been replaced with explosive characters, as you saw earlier, he kind of can't take her back to his castle without his castle basically blowing up. So he wants to get her voice back so he can kidnap her, like always.
Yeah, and as you'll notice through this game and throughout all the Mario and Luigi games, Luigi ends up being the butt of many jokes.
But he does get a little bit more recognition as the series goes on, especially in Dream Team, where he's kind of the main focus of Dream Team, which Dream Team did nothing wrong. It's a bit of a in-joke in the community. But as you also can see, like many of the Mario RPGs, but particularly in this series, this game focuses on a very humorous presentation. A lot of the dialogue, a lot of the sprite animations are very colorful and very charming and humorous.
Yeah, so I'm also going to be picking up a few more items in this. But first, we actually have to get through customs of Beanbean Kingdom, and we actually need a passport.
Yeah, it's very, very important that Mermilio stands perfectly still when he gets this picture taken.
Perfectly still.
Yeah. So we need our pictures in order to enter the Beanbean Kingdom with a legal passport. So he has to, stand completely straight-faced, regulations. So no, perhaps waving his arms in the air or panicking in front of the camera.
Like that. Perfectly still.
Quite the impressive picture.
I always thought that maybe somehow there could be RNG manipulation based on what pose you pick for that picture, but unfortunately no one's ever found out any correlation to anything during the run.
And while this game is not super heavily RNG, it is at the point where it is so optimized that your run actually, what is it, a 50% chance of...
Yeah, there's a 50-50 at the very end.
Yeah, towards the very end, RNG can play a factor in whether or not you can get record or not. This is just a tutorial for how how dodge commands work specifically.
And they also introduced Luigi battling as well.
So Mario is completely controlled by the A button, and Luigi is pretty much completely controlled by the B button. Unlike later games in the series, though, you can press start and switch their positions. Also, this battle theme is one of the most catchy I've ever seen. Yeah, shoutouts to Yoko Shimomura, who is known mainly for the Kingdom Hearts series. She did the soundtracks to the entire Mario and Luigi series as well, and Super Mario RPG, and a few other very well-composed games.
Yeah, so we were just talking about how RNG plays a big part in getting a good time towards the end of the run, but it also actually plays a pretty big role in the beginning. So after every level up, there's a power roll that you can get, which gives you bonus power. And based on how lucky I am, I can get more or less power, which will essentially save 2 minutes or lose 2 minutes.
So basically, with straight marathon luck, you just roll straight ones the entire way through. Hey, a two. So in actuality, Mario's power is the only one that really matters. Luigi's very little early on, and after a certain point, his power is effectively not that important at all.
Yeah. Getting good power with Luigi could help save a little time every now and again, but for the most part, you could roll all ones with him and be fine. And yet again, Luigi being picked on.
He is the butt of very many jokes in this series. I love this animation. Cackletta is a little... not one for effort. It's flying around in a hover rocking chair. So this little chortling bean here is named Fawful, and if you're familiar with this series, he's kind of probably the most iconic character to come from this game, in spite of the fact that he's more or less a second in command of Cackletta, the main villain of this game.
We actually have a scripted fight right here. He doesn't have like a set amount of HP, but instead you have to do a certain amount of action commands to finish the fight.
Yeah, so any missed action commands would result in an extra attack, thus wasting time. And Bowser is giving a tutorial on how enemies actually choreograph their attacks.
Yeah, each enemy has like a tell to know whether or not they're attacking Mario or Luigi.
So usually it's based on who they look at, a movement of the hand. In this particular case, it's very obvious. He'll say something, and the text will have green or red text. Also, you note the particular odd mannerisms in which Fawful speaks.
Alright, he should be dead on Luigi's turn.
Pretty good fight. So naturally, as this is just a tutorial, did you really think everything would go smoothly? No, Waffle's just gonna kind of blow up the ship.
Yeah. So Bowser wasn't able to get us all the way to Beanbean Kingdom, but luckily our trajectory from that fall landed us right at the border.
So as I understand it, you actually mashing during this cutscene is actually a little bit faster than just letting it play out.
So anytime there's text on screen, it's better to mash through it. Like the intro cutscene, I've timed, and where it's, if you don't mash, you can lose almost like 15 seconds. And it's so, no one really notices it, but when I started getting serious, it was like, I was so confused why I would lose time randomly.
Got time here for a quick donation. Quickly explain, so we are literally jumping the border here. So you have to do this little jump rope mini game, and if you fail 3 times with either bro, you have to start over. One thing Mermilio here is going to do here is he is going to actually take a couple of hits on purpose.
Yeah, it's actually faster because there's an ending cutscene after the minigame, and it's faster to have only 1 life with each of the bros.
Yeah, a bunch of fireworks are going to go off on the Super Mario Brothers style background. So he wants to carefully time it so that that particular swing around is when he takes the last 2 hits. It's the most, when I tried to learn this game, it was probably the most consistent. Anyways, so now we have officially jumped the border and crossed over into the Beanbean Kingdom.
So this is like the first big area of the game, or dungeon if you want to call it.
So that pipe, what he just did there was, he set up a warp point. There are 9 warp points scattered across the Beanbean Kingdom that you can quickly go from one place to another. We're going to do about 5 in the N% category.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah, so this game actually has 3 main categories. Any percent, which is currently at a 116.10.
116.15.
There's also all bosses, which is mainly done on the Japanese version. We can get into version differences here in a bit. So this is Tolstar. He is going to be a gatekeeper, as in he literally will not let us pass without us paying him 100 coins. Unfortunately, the thing that happens when you travel across countries is currency often is of differing value. So 100 Mushroom Kingdom coins is actually only 10 Beanbean coins. And this inflation gets much worse throughout the game. Later on in the game, it's something like 99,999,000 coins is about 99 Beanbean coins. Inflation sinks pretty fast when your when your royalty has been effectively taken out of command. So what he's trying to do is get 100 coins here out of these coin blocks. And there's going to be 3 enemy fights. There's 100 coins if you get 3 enemy fights, and 101 actually. And so he wants to get 100 out of those 101, and if he messes up too much on these blocks, he has to do an additional fight, which of course is time-consuming. We don't want to get that. But as I was saying, there's an all bosses category, which is sort of a bridge category, because we're going to see a lot of glitches here in a little bit, not too long from now. And lastly, there's a glitchless category, which is very broken in its own way. Like even the glitchless category of this game is broken more out of mechanics from the reason we collect the mushrooms, which yeah, we can get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, so these guys are actually going to introduce us to bros attacks. So basically anything you can do on the overworld, you can also do in battle. So they're gonna give us new ways to move around on the overworld, and then new attacks as well. But first we gotta get through these little tutorials. This is one of the tutorials where you can actually accidentally press yes and go again. So you have to alternate mashing A and B. And it's not too tough, but sometimes you accidentally hit A twice in a row and you lose a bit of time.
This just teaches some overworld tech for crossing gaps and jumping up high. It's pretty self-explanatory. So as I was kind of alluding to, this game used to be any percent used to be run on the Japanese version. However, it is currently done on the English version because it ended up finding out that it is faster.
Yeah, the glitches in each version actually are pretty different. So the mechanics in the English version were actually pretty broken, especially for a certain badge. And they tried to fix that by nerfing it in the Japanese version, fixing some other bugs. But they ended up creating a whole new glitch, which completely breaks the game even more.
And the funniest thing is, this broken badge, which is called the mush badge, it's why we're collecting so many mushrooms. It's based on how many mushrooms you have in your inventory, as well as super mushrooms. And the formula was nerfed to something like, I think it's only like 40% as good on the Japanese version, and it is still by far the strongest badge in the game.
Yeah, you'll really have a lot of trouble completing the game without using a mush badge. At least for speedruns.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this game very underleveled. So what Mermilio is doing here is he's using his Splash Brothers on just basic encounters. The reason is because when you do a bros attack enough times, you unlock an advanced command, which is sort of an alternative series of inputs. And if you perform it 16 times, which he wants to get it at a very specific point, it unlocks in the advance, which allows him to hit enemies with spiky heads, and that's very important for an upcoming boss. So a lot of what the routing that goes into this game is to do something, either to do something now or to do something much later in the run.
Yeah, pretty much everything I'm doing also sets up for something much later in the run.
Yeah, I think the reason why the version differences matter so much is, I mean, it's common in RPGs for text reasons for Japanese to be faster, but in the case of this game, American version actually came out before the Japanese version, so the Japanese version, they patched a few things out, even though the glitches end up being different and both versions end up being incredibly broken in their own regard.
Yeah, and speaking of text, so the amount of text differs between versions, but it doesn't really matter because text just goes as fast as I can mash.
So I don't know if you're hearing it picked up through the mic, but he's mashing really fast.
Yeah, I just gotta do it for text. And there's a lot of text, especially in this beginning section.
This is just a tutorial on how Splash Brothers works. You do unlock it before this tutorial, so you can use it anyways. Basically, bros attacks use BP, which is sort of an MP common in RPGs. You can do a slower version, or you can do a harder version, which it slows down time if you do the slower version, but if you do the third option, time proceeds at regular speed, which is faster, but it also costs less, and I believe it does more damage.
I think it does do more damage, and I'm not sure if the slow versions actually count towards getting the advanced commands either.
if I may interject for just a moment.
Sure thing.
We have a donation, kind of long-standing for a bit, from Jace for $30. And just to remind you guys, with a donation of $30 or more, you are entered to win a Nintendo Switch plus a Breath of the Wild cartridge. That is our main giveaway that's going to be, or rather, raffle that we're going to be doing for this event. So feel free to go ahead and donate heavy to the event. We do appreciate every donation that does come our way, and if you find that you can't donate, absolutely spread the word about the event by word of mouth. If you can get on social media, let people know that we are here, and we are going to be here for the rest of the weekend. Lots of great games coming. We're going to be linking the schedule inside of the chat momentarily. Hopefully you guys are enjoying.
Yeah, so right here we're getting another level up. So hopefully we get some decent power again.
You want to get, over the course of, how long does it go to?
You have, I believe, 4 opportunities to get enough power.
So yeah, you want to get 3 2s or a 2 and a 3.
Yeah.
So these coin blocks here are pretty lenient timing. Some of the other ones actually are very precise. We didn't really touch up on them, but the ones where you hit them, you can hit, like where you just hit the same block over and over again, you can hit it up to 10 times, but the frame window for getting 10 is extremely tight.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky section, just because of that timing for people who learn to run the game. But luckily I only missed one, so we just head straight into this fight.
This is one of his few fights we're actually going to see constant use of Luigi's bros attack.
Yeah.
Or
A
his
cool
bounce
thing
bros.
about this fight actually is that in the Japanese version, you start off with different stats for the bros. So you start off with more VP, and you can just continually attack Tolstar. But in this version, we're actually going to have to take an extra turn to heal.
So Tolstar has basically 2 attacks. He throws a spiked ball on the ground, or sometimes he'll bounce it up high, in which case you actually don't want to jump. It's a pretty simple boss. Your goal is basically to get enough to, I mean, apart from defeating him, you want to get off at least enough Splash Brothers to move the count up to closer to 16. Yuck.
Alright, another level up with Luigi.
Hey,
nice, a
3 on the wrong bro.
Yeah, Luigi's actually does help out very little, so
Gotta go for
anything.
swag jump.
Of course. So there's a little time save right here. You're supposed to spin jump across this little gap, but a while ago it was found that you can just jump over it.
So
And
long, Bowser.
It's a little precise.
Oh, you
There
got
we
it.
go. Like, it only saves about a second, but it's just so swaggy, you have to go for it every time.
Your excitement was enough to make it impressive.
Yeah, it's close to pixel perfect, and yeah, timing based. So the Prince of the Kingdom has actually gone missing. So these knights kind of go after anyone who looks suspicious, and we're foreigners, so naturally they've never seen us before, and they want to question us. But Tolstar actually comes back and vouches for us, saying that we are who we say we are, and not bad people. Only 9 coins.
Yeah.
So that block, yeah, you see how tight the window is. He was able to get 10 on pretty much all of the ones
Yeah. In the Stardust Fields.
Yeah.
But that was like really the only instance where I really go pretty far out of the way for items. Everything else that I pick up will just be along the route.
So one thing you'll also see is when he's on stairs, he's gonna kind of tilt the control stick upwards or sideways and then jump. It's a little weird, but your momentum on stairs is kind of slow. So, but we do this trick called stair jumping, which I'll explain in a second because Fawful is on the screen and I want to watch. I have theory.
Yeah, so stair jumping, the way it works is actually you jump parallel to the step, and you can keep your momentum going up. Because if you just walk up the stairs, then you actually slow down quite a bit.
So Fawful's just put an obstacle in our way, which we don't have a means of dealing with yet. So we're gonna go and find a means of dealing with it. So first you have to talk to these guys on the bridge.
Yeah, the trigger for getting past that bridge actually is talking to the guy on the bottom. And I know casually, myself, I just could not figure out how to get past it. You just had to talk to what seemingly random NPC. Like, this cutscene won't even trigger it.
So these guys make hammers, as evidenced by their hammer-shaped heads and their hammer accessories on their heads. But we need to go get a kind of stone strong enough to withstand their smithing abilities.
That being up there could actually sometimes snipe you if he's in a wrong position.
Yeah, we don't want to get any extra encounters in this game, not just because getting an encounter is slow, but also because you can't run away due to how tight the money route is in this game.
Yeah, anything you encounter, you just have to fight, and some enemies actually take a pretty long time, because you're just so weak from not fighting at all.
Shoutouts to Water Mario. Which, I'm gonna be showing off the Water Mario
Yeah,
glitch.
for sure.
That's gonna be an entertaining one. Stick around for that one. So, putting the fire out on these guys makes these tornadoes, which allows us to extend our spin jump. Or allows Murmilio to extend his spin jump.
So we actually get one more required normal enemy fight, and it's this guy. And there's actually a bit of RNG for this battle, because Mario actually speed ties these enemies. So whether or not you can attack first, you save time.
We have a $5 donation from DK Wings MT. I want no rewards because it's already a reward for me to watch this game being played. Superstar Saga was my favorite game in my childhood. I've never finished this, so I hope watching this won't spoil too much. Thanks to everyone for this event. On the subject of donations, very quickly also, I just want to touch on a couple of challenges and bid wars that we have going on. Ease Origins has unlocked the ultimate flashy attack, which is currently at 0 out of $50, and that's going to be coming up relatively soon, I would say. We also have a bid war for costumes for Silent Hill Homecoming. Currently, Boogeyman Alex is in the lead with $30, so hop in that if you want to change that costume.
Quick note, you can actually blow out the fire from the side, which I actually never know until I saw a run of this, and I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, so after that fight, we actually got another level up, and unfortunately we got another one with Mario. So on the next fight is when certain power is required, not to finish the game, just to not lose any time. So on the next level up, I'll need to get a 3, or else it'll just be a couple of slow fights coming up.
So we went all that way to unlock a faucet to finally put this fire out so we can proceed.
Just, I guess, a little interesting speed tech is that whenever you walk off a ledge, if you walk off the corner of it, you actually save a few frames.
Just a little too early.
Yeah, so every now and again, I'll just walk off the edge. And this minigame is actually pretty interesting. These spirits that you have to collect can spawn either right next to you or across the stage. And if they all spawn across the stage, I think you can still complete the minigame, but I think you might have to be somewhat frame perfect to complete it. Which, I think it's happened to me once, but I still failed.
So I think getting a good time there is, like, right around when it hits 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10's about pretty good.
So a little fun fact about this boss. If you, I believe I've heard if you get your advance command when you finish this boss, it'll soft lock the game.
It's actually when you destroy one of the pillars.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because this guy will just never pop up.
There's gonna be a lot. There's a lot of areas that you can soft lock in this game, but that one I find to be one of the most strange because that is something through entirely intended mechanics.
Yeah, they actually that's one of the things they fixed from switching to Japanese. So maybe that's like the one thing that made all the glitches. So if my power was high enough, I could kill this guy with 4 attacks from Mario. But I'm gonna have to do an extra attack with Luigi.
So for the 3.
I mean, hopefully. Yeah, this guy has 45 HP. Alright, the last level up before I need a 3. Can we get it? Oh,
yes!
Nice! The game likes to balance out your rolls every now and again.
It's unfortunate because this is, I think, the only game in the series where you're not able to manipulate the slots. In Partners in Time, there's a general queue for always getting the number you want. Similar in Bowser's Inside Story, and I think Dream Team afterwards they just got rid of random stat ups altogether, or slot stat ups altogether. Which is kind of a shame because I thought it was a really interesting mechanic.
So this upcoming enemy is like a dry bones. If you stay on the top wall, he actually cannot see you. So if he's ever in your way, we just wait there for a little while.
You got a $5 donation from Zero Cool. Yo, Mermilio, this is your boy Zero Cool wishing you luck from SLO. Remember, hashtag no shirts and to not pick Mark.
Shoutouts to the Slow Smash community. True homies.
I swear I never remembered this mountain being taking this long.
Nah, we're right at the end.
I mean, I was rather not taking this long, but just being this big.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff that I just don't explore. Alright, so now we're actually getting to the next boss fight. And this fight is where manipulating your advanced commands comes into play. The way it works is this boss actually has 80 HP, and I want to kill it on Mario's 4th attack. So based on what damage Mario and Luigi do, I'll change whatever attacks they do in order to make sure I kill it on that exact turn. But sometimes when you have bad RNG, your power is so low that even with like full powered attacks on both bros, you still can't get it. But I think Luigi's power is actually just enough to be able to do it still.
This guy has 80 health?
Yeah.
After you hit him enough times, he kind of has this weirdly tall abdomen, so now he's just kind of shorter. It looks more like a puppy dog. So there he deliberately missed Luigi's action command.
Yeah, I don't want to end up getting an advanced command for Luigi because it'll end up wasting time.
So the idea on this fight is to time it so that you get your 16th Splash Brothers command right when you finish this fight. And it saves a little bit of time on a cutscene. Because ordinarily when a boss dies it has this death animation, but you'll see.
Yeah, so right here, it actually plays both cutscenes at the same time, so it saves a little bit of time. They actually fixed that in the Japanese version because that soft lock earlier with the pillars when you get an advanced command there, I'm pretty sure they fixed it for that reason.
So Luigi's power no longer really matters for the rest of the run. So we're going with stash points, which ups the chance of a critical hit.
Yeah, in this game also, besides the critical hit, it gives you discounts in stores. So that's just going more into play for picking up that one item at the very end of the game.
So enter Prince Peasley. He's the fabulous prince of this kingdom, and he shows it by flashing his hair and making the screen go wide every time.
And Luigi actually just happens to be obsessed with him.
I mean, how could you not admire his coolness?
That's true. Yeah, so we ended up not picking up the rock to make hammers, but luckily it just fell down through their chimney. So we can go pick those up right now.
And also the rose we just picked up is a key item that allows us to get to the next part of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this is Alta's thing, but is today the day?
I hope not.
Shoutouts to Alta Biscuit, one of the main runners of this game.
Yeah, Alta Biscuit was the first runner that I watched of this game, and I ended up picking it up after him. And so we're just gonna be using hammers a lot right here. And right here we actually have to use the combo water into hammer. Oops. And here is a pretty sweet minigame. All of the Mario RPG series, actually, I'm pretty sure, have a minigame with minecarts in them. But this minigame is pretty special. It's because, to my knowledge, no one ever doing a run has ever failed this minigame during the run. And sometimes it gets really, really close, but it'd just be really embarrassing if anyone were to do it, especially during a marathon. But
So it's kind of joked about that is today the day. So the way it works is Luigi in the background, you can only see him through Mario's flashlight, and you need to pick up gems by jumping at the right time, and then later on rocks will hit the ground, and if you strike the rocks you'll lose 3 gems. There's a total of, I believe, 15 gems, so if you fail twice you can't complete this, but as you can see you move slow enough and it's telegraphed enough that you can pretty easily tell where and when a rock is and when to jump.
sometimes on that first jump with Luigi, his speed just falls so much and you actually are unable to make the jump, so it's always a little bit scary for that first one. But yeah, those were the only 2 obstacles, so we're just waiting it out until we finish the minecarts.
It's perfect 15. Today is not the day. And you know, the funny thing is, I think as a kid I actually did fail this a couple times.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure I had to stop playing this game casually because I could just not pick up 10 for some reason. But now that we're out of that area, we finally get into like the hub world of the game. Like, this is like the Beanbean overworld now, and it pretty much connects to all the areas.
This is a bit of a hammer combat tutorial. We won't do hammers too much in combat, but they do, having hammers will later give us additional bros attacks, which those will be the most powerful bros attacks in the game.
Oops.
Another thing is you'll see Mermilio's picking up item boxes with nuts in them. Those aren't actually to use, and they don't apply to the bonuses from the mush badge, but they are good for selling because we'll need to buy a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah, nuts sell for, I think, the most out of like non-mushrooms, which we actually don't want to sell anyways. Also, shoutouts to the music on this overworld. Super good.
Just like to talk very briefly, mention that There are quite a few naming incentives also that are going to be happening fairly later on inside of it, but it's a good idea to get started on them early. Variety of characters inside of Final Fantasy VI of note. We also have naming the levels from Super Mario Maker, and a variety of file name choices. So feel free to check those out and name something nice, or goofy, or just basically don't name them anything that we can't actually do.
So the Beanbean Kingdom has come under attack and just been utterly just terrorized and destroyed. So a lot of facilities are not enterable, and these two guards of the palace are very suspicious of anybody, rightfully so. I mean, the town is in ruins, and there's this really depressing music that's playing in the background. This cutscene's quite amusing because they say, it's like, I understand what you're saying. You do? Not really. But since previously gave us a rose, that's kind of his autograph, and thus able to get us entry into the castle.
Yeah, they suddenly trust us because we have a rose. Who knows how we could have gotten it though? Might have just stolen it. But
Fair. I don't think I've ever seen a cream orange rose before.
True. That is true. So here's actually the original character, but that we thought was the real Bean ambassador, but now we actually do have the real one, and to prove that we are the Mario Bros, we have to actually fix their plumbing.
Yeah. So if you've ever wondered why hasn't there been a Mario game in so long in which you do plumbing, well, you do plumbing in this game.
And a little bit about the enemies in this game, or for this area. This is like the first part of the game where enemies are pretty hard to avoid. Like, these enemies just have such random and sporadic movement.
They really like to troll you.
Oh, try to jump over him, but this one's not too bad, but some enemies later in the area have a lot of HP.
So as I recall, a lot of the enemy encounters in this game can be kind of random. Like, you'll see one fighter fly on the overworld, and then the encounter you actually get, like the enemies you see in the battle, can be a little bit random.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you try, I think I recall, like, you can end up triggering the same encounter multiple times and getting two random sets of enemies. Like,
Yeah,
completely
I
different
think
ones.
that works as well.
The spin jump to save a little bit of time and also not have to worry about jumping around the spiny there.
Yeah, the Spinies in particular have a lot of health compared to the flies. And wow, this guy, I don't know which way he's going.
There's a little mini game here where you have to press these in the correct order.
Yeah, and a cool little time save right here. If you press that one closer to the right, it saves time by when the camera moves over. And up here is actually the most difficult enemy to dodge in the area. Because he charges at you pretty fast, and he usually does not want to leave me alone.
Quick note that the pump on the right side there, if you spin that, it triggers an enemy encounter.
We're gonna have to let go of an item back there because the guy just would not let me get it.
Is it a shrimp?
I believe that was a syrup, which is not too bad. So once we actually fix all the pipes in the area, it turns out the real queen, or Bean Ambassador, has been trapped the whole time. We were bamboozled.
We've been Smeckledorfed.
Yeah, so what actually they were aiming for was the Beanstar, and keeping it protected was not having any plumbing.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so just all the people in Beanbean Kingdom just were not allowed to have a toilet.
That's disgusting.
I believe, like, later in the game as well, there's one person one NPC that says, like, this is a great home, I just really wish I had a toilet.
Yeah, the Beanstar is a very important MacGuffin, a rather major plot point, which we actually won't be seeing all that much of in this run. Supposedly it can grant one wish to whoever can awaken it.
Alright, so for this boss fight, this is the one that we wanted the advanced commands.
Yeah, if you try and fight this fight without, you have 3 ways of fighting this fight. You can use Advanced Bros, Splash Bros, which has a different series of inputs, and who has 120 health?
Yeah, she has 120.
You can get it in 4 turns. So there are 3 things you can do. You can either hit her fists, and after you've breaking them both down, you can hit the body for a few turns for just regular damage.
Yeah, that crown actually acts as a spike, so you can't really jump on her head normally.
Yeah, and then the third alternative is you can use hammer every single turn, which takes 60 turns. And I know this because I did it in my first playthrough of this game. And amusingly enough, I lost my save data, and I had to do it again.
Oh boy. Yeah, but advanced commands are really good for this fight because it's essentially a different move and it has different damage formula, so it does more damage on spiked enemies. That's why we're able to kill her so quickly.
A lot of the advanced bros actually have unique properties to them. One of them that is used in the all bosses category and used to be used in an 8% but no longer is a later advanced bros technique called knockback bros, which can actually go infinite if you are able to time it. I think it's similar to Super Mario RPG Super Jump in that it has like a 3-frame window.
I'm pretty sure it's not nearly that strict, but
well then my bad.
No, but it's definitely pretty tough to get every time.
I'm thinking of another frame window, because in the middle of it, there's a brief like frame of animation where you just see Mario just kind of like, what? And it just looks hilarious. That's why I'm thinking frame windows.
Yeah, but getting the advanced knockback is not really used anymore because you would have to grind a lot for it. Like, Splash Bros took 16 to get advanced commands, but Knockback Bros takes over 40.
Yeah, it used to be that you would have to just grind on the same spiny over and over again.
Alright, so right here we're getting introduced to badges. Not the OP badge that we're going to get later on, but this one does raise our power and our BP.
Now, badges in this game are a little bit more simpler than they are. Later on in the series, they get to be a little bit more complex. Some of them having, like, great benefits, but, like, a great drawback. Like, one of them is if you're under a quarter of your health, you do, like, triple damage. The only one we'll be using in this game is the Much badge, which is so ridiculously overpowered, especially on the English version, that you really don't need any other badges.
Yeah, and to top it all off, the Much badge, there's actually an upgraded version of the Much badge, which is broken even more.
I don't think it ups the formula, it just gives a flat strength increase.
Yeah.
So we're setting another pipe as a warp point for later on in the run.
And now we have to go get the antidote to save the queen.
Yeah, because what ended up happening to the queen and why she was basically Donkey Kong on us was because she swallowed what is called a belly belch or black worm. I don't remember exactly how they spell it.
Something like that.
And was poisoned basically by Cacletta and Fawful. And the only way to get it out is, I think, to burp it out. And thus we need to get like a very special kind of cola, referred to as Chacola Cola, which is brewed in this, they say a chateau, which is like a vineyard, but this is a kid's game, so they can't be they can't be brewing wine, so they brew soda instead.
Yeah, accidentally got into another enemy encounter, but that's not too bad. So we're entering the chateau, and right now we're gonna see barrels do play a big part of the run, even not with glitches.
So it's brewed with a specific kind of fruit that I think only grows in this area.
Chacola fruit.
Yeah, it's kind of seen as this legendary item, and it actually recurs a few times throughout the series. In Thousand Year Door, there's a scene where the partner Bobbery is like his last wish is to drink his final bottle of Chacola Cola.
Yeah, so we're actually trying to get the antidote, but we have this strange dude that just appeared. So we're gonna have to see what his deal is.
A lot of barrels here. I'm kind of getting some semblance of foreshadowing here.
Yeah, so this guy gets in our way with his partner, Rookie. He might seem familiar, but we have actually never met this guy before. But the way this fight works is that you want to kill Rookie, and then Pablo will just run away.
I won't talk too much because this is probably the best song in the game.
Mario's power is high enough where I can just jump with Luigi. Oh.
You can pay attention to enemy choreography. Sometimes it is quicker to just hold both buttons and just dodge or knock the attack away, regardless of visual cues or enemies like tell.
Alright, so right here I'm actually going to take some damage with Luigi in hopes that he actually dies at the end of the turn.
At this point, Luigi's levels don't matter very much.
Yeah. Yeah, so before Popple runs away, he's going to attack again, and it's a 50-50 whether he attacks Mario or Luigi. So if he attacks Luigi... Oh, rip. So if he attacks Luigi there, you can save some time because Luigi won't have to level up. Which each level up saves about 10 seconds. So once again, Luigi's level ups are just random stash points.
So we're just about at the end of the part where we play this game as intended. So you might have played this game and thought, well, you have the whole University, the Oasis, Jokes End, a bunch of awesome, cool places, which you do explore a bit more of in other categories, but in this run, this game just is, well, something special. I'll say that much.
So right here, we're gonna end up getting the last tutorial of the run, and we're gonna learn Bro's hammer attacks. So while we're just doing this tutorial, you can say a bunch of donations if you want.
Well, I figure we might as well kind of refresh people on why we are here today. We've been talking a lot about incentives and a lot about donations and everything, but just to touch on it again, we are the Califorrnithon crew here at AOD. We are here trying to raise money for the Direct Relief charity. They're a great charitable organization. Basically, the donations go towards helping people in emergency situations. They address issues of poverty and other places as well. Do lots of great things out in the world abroad. Feel free to check them up and get more information about them, both on Wikipedia, on their official site. And yeah, just, again, continue to spread the word, guys. We'd love to see more faces inside of the chat, and thank you for the hosts.
So right here, to complete the tutorial, we just need to grab some cups that these guys have been obsessing about for a while.
Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze there.
So once we give these cups to these guys, we can just continue on with the game. Quotations around continue with the game. Yeah, so this is like the point where I like to tell everyone, if you've never seen any percent run of this game, be prepared because some crazy stuff is about to go on in like a minute.
So I alluded a bit to barrels so far. What Mermilia is going to do is a trick called barrel storage. And that messes with this game's commands. So first you're going to grab a couple items here.
Yeah, so like, I was learning all these action commands through these tutorials and everything. But getting barrel basically makes it so I don't need to take another one.
Yeah, there are a few more commands you can get throughout this game and abilities that you can use. However, barrel storage allows us to basically manually write the command ourselves, and allows us to get abilities we're not supposed to have at this point in the game. So this trick is actually frame perfect. He wants to, well, you'll see when you get it correctly.
Yeah, you can tell if you're like a frame off whether or not Mario jumps up or not. Yeah, like right there I was early again. There we go.
There we go. So now we have barrel storage. We're going to do a glitch called sign glitch, and oh, that's beautiful.
There we go. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine, I swear.
Yeah, there's only a big exclamation mark where Mario's command is normally supposed to be. This is a perfectly intended mechanic of the game. I mean, who am I kidding? Yeah, so this just allows him to mess with the coding of this game in very brutal ways. So we don't actually go and grab the Cola. There happens to be a warp pipe here, which can take us closer to where we need to go next, which we can technically, I believe technically we can go and trigger endgame sequence stuff.
Yeah, we could.
But we are vastly underleveled, so we need to go get some sort of substantial power upgrade.
Yeah, we need a... Right now, we actually need to get super hammers. You can get to the next area without them, like through more glitches, but it's actually just faster to get these for now. And sometimes that digging enemy likes to just pop right on top of me.
So through a combination of barrel storage and the sign glitch, you have to use the sign command to mess with commands. We can now store, we can also store a barrel, but we can write the Thunderhand command, which if you've never played this game before, you're supposed to do 2 more dungeons, and then you land in an oasis where Luigi and Mario are given what are called Thunderhand and Firehand powers, where they can shoot electricity and fire from their hands, respectively. So that allows us to activate that little switch that requires Thunderhand without ever actually acquiring the ability. The trade-off is that he's only written this command temporarily, so he has to make sure to store it and get it right.
Yeah, and the commands don't like follow through during battle or anything either.
Now we have upgraded super hammers, which allow us to break sturdier rocks.
Yeah, so before we could only break the brown blocks, but now we can break the gray ones as well.
There is an ultra hammer, but we don't get that in the... I don't think we get that in any speedrun category, except for glitchless.
Yeah, just glitchless. In all bosses, due to the Japanese barrel clipping, you don't have to get any hammer upgrades.
Yeah, barrel storage works differently on the Japanese version. It allows you to do a much simpler and more I would argue more humorous looking clip, where instead of just flooding the screen with pixel vomit to get past things, you just kind of alternate positions, and then your coordinates just are all screwy.
Alright, so now that we got super hammers, we're still not gonna get the antidote. We're just gonna let Queen Bean ride out her sickness. But we are gonna head off to the desert, which is called Tihi Valley. Normally you can't get here until much later in the game, but we're gonna do a trick called Rock Skip. And essentially I'm using the action command glitch to manipulate everything as well. But while I'm doing it, I'll let Ghost King explain the rest.
Alright, where to begin on this trick? So, ordinarily you're not supposed to get past this part without the ultra hammers. Remilio is pressing I believe the L button in a particular number of times, and yeah, I don't fully quite understand the trick myself, but what it does is it allows him to clip past things he wasn't supposed to get past. So these stone blocks that require the ultra hammer, he was able to actually get past because he's just messed with the game's coding so much.
Yep.
So entering the select menu puts
now
the
we're
screen
just
back to normal.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, going through the action commands and getting all these different glitch commands allows me to alter the height of the Mario Bros. So I can just walk over those.
So careful here, you have to actually do high jump, because if you jump on one of those switches, you'll soft lock the game. The game doesn't actually, you're supposed to be just Mario or just
Luigi.
Just Luigi for this part. There's another part of the desert where you're expected to be just Mario, but you get here with both bros. So yeah, you just soft lock the game because it's intended for one bro only.
Yeah, and right here, another glitch coming up. And right now I can explain, you can't save at all during the run. So I have to create a restore point because this glitch actually can soft lock.
Yeah, there's a lot of risks.
Yeah, and there's actually just no safety strat to this.
So Luigi actually has different properties, especially when messed around with the action command glitch. Don't worry, tech guys, this is completely normal looking.
Alright, so right here, we get into the right position.
So this trick is called hat storage?
Flying hat.
Flying hat.
Because we just fly over.
Yeah, so you're not actually supposed to be able to get past that guy now without Peach. And he's also a very annoying boss fight. So we've clipped past him and suddenly Princess Peach is with us. So you're ordinarily supposed to enter this place after going through Tiki Valley with with Princess Peach following you on a very annoying escort quest.
Yeah, this is actually so far late into the game that we actually already saved Princess Peach.
Yeah, so it turns out that the plot explains that the Princess Peach at the castle was actually a fake and was secretly Birdo in a costume. So they hid the real princess away, anticipating some sort of international sabotage.
Yeah, and there was the mush badge right there. So I pick it up, and I also just sell all the items I don't need and just buy all the mushrooms.
Yeah, so there's a set formula that it works off of with a certain number of mushrooms. One-up mushrooms do not count. So he just buys out as many mushrooms as he can, and I don't quite know the formula off the top of my head, but what it does is it makes every one of his attacks do a flat amount of damage. And this is important because we've unlocked an ability called Chopper Bros by getting the action commands in Chacola Woods. The way Chopper Bros works is you mash the button, or you mash the A button, and you get a bunch of attacks. Ordinarily what they're supposed to do is you do like a bunch on the first hit, and then it dwindles down all the way till like the last 3 hits all do 1 damage. But because of the mush badge, every attack will do a flat amount of damage, which in this case I think is 12.
Yeah, at this point it should be 12 damage. Yeah, but we come back to the desert, just so we're gonna do what's called the big skip. And give me a sec right here, because I kind of have to focus for this. So right there was actually another rock skip, but this time we went vertically on the map. And here's pretty much the last items we're going to pick up for the rest of the game, because we have enough mush power to basically destroy every boss. And right here is another place where I would soft lock, so I have to make another restore point.
So loading from a restore point technically voids the run, but it's really the only way to make this game work in a marathon setting.
Yeah, we don't allow it normally during RTA runs. Yeah. And right here is another flying hat skip. This one's much more precise though. You have to get in a perfect positioning to be able to pull this one off. And sometimes it's pretty hard with the bad D-pad. There we go.
Nice. So, ordinarily you're supposed to proceed through the events of this game, getting to a place called Joke's End, which is very cold and kind of not as comical place. And then you go back on the airship, and Luigi crashes off in the desert, so Mario has to go solo to find him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that...
Real quick, this is actually... oh boy.
Very dangerous screen.
This is actually my most feared area of the game. Whoops. These enemies are so hard to avoid, and they just one-hit KO you. But luckily we didn't get hit on our back. So actually now we can just run from all these encounters because we actually don't have any coins left. Yeah.
So Luigi will crash. Also, you notice Luigi has the spin jump action command, which he's not supposed to have.
Yeah, but similar to how we did get Thunder Hand on Luigi, we can get Fire Hand with Mario.
Do you want to demonstrate the glitch that happens if you enter this fight incorrectly?
Oh yeah, we can right now. So this place I also have to make my final restore point for the run.
And this is entirely for show because
Yeah.
he's about to soft lock the game.
Yeah,
So,
you have to enter this area with Mario, otherwise the game soft locks.
Yeah, so if you enter with Luigi, you see Luigi tied up here because he was apprehended by desert folk, and yeah, the screen just messes up.
Yeah, you can hear me like jumping and everything, but I'm just stuck in this wall. But normally when you enter with Mario,
So now Luigi is teleported without the use of Flying Hat.
yeah, and it turns out the people that kidnapped Luigi were once again right here, Popple.
Popple and his new rookie.
Yes, new rookie.
So this is actually supposed to take place towards the very end of this game. Beating this fight triggers the end game, which is get to the final dungeon and do the final boss.
So here you'll be able to see just how powerful the Mush Badge is. So on Mario's attack, it's a multi-hit move. Right here. So normally I would do maybe 20 damage, but thanks to the Mush Badge I did almost 200.
And Knockback Bros' formula also is based on Mario's strength rather than Luigi's.
Yeah, so that's why it gets the little attack bonus as well. So right here is the reason we made the restore point, is because it's Popple. And alright, so we didn't get good luck, but if he ends up killing Mario on that attack, I just cannot finish the run because Mario needs these level ups.
Yeah, the other thing is if he attacks Luigi, we want Luigi to run out of health so that he stays at level 7, because his level basically doesn't matter for the rest of the run, and having to sit through him level up 4 times costs about 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah, it's about 10 seconds per each level, so he goes from 7 to 11 right now, so about 40. Or Mario's actually fine on power right now, so I'm just going to put some extra in BP, because this might be helpful for the final boss, depending on how RNG is.
Yeah, so with all the tricks in this game, you might think, oh, this game looks hard, this game looks complicated. The tricks, once you get them down, you can do them with relative consistency. What the runners of this game generally consider the hardest part of this run is not any of the glitches, actually, it's beating the final boss, because you're super under-leveled, and the final boss has several different attacks, and you have very little margin of error.
Yeah, the final boss is basically a one-hit KO fest, and if that weren't enough, my mashing speed is like super dependent, or the boss fight is super dependent on my mashing speed, because I'm actually not scared about mashing too slow, I'm scared about mashing too fast, because if I do too much damage, the boss will give me pretty much I'd say I can avoid the attack maybe about 10% of the time.
It's really risky.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, Remilio did a practice run with this estimate. It gave like 2 additional minutes per split. The final boss had an additional 15.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like we're doing pretty decent on time so far. So.
Yeah, this has actually been a pretty good run so far. But we have a little pit stop, or 2 actually, before we go to the final boss. So right here. Oh, was a little too close to the edge. But we're actually going to use Luigi to spin jump over that.
Which is why the screen looks all funky.
You actually can't run without Luigi being there.
Thankfully, these are early game enemies, so taking a hit doesn't cost him like health or anything.
Yeah, so that was the whole reason we put the spin jump on Luigi. But now we're gonna see an instance of barrel clipping in the English version.
This is one of the few where it works. It's like on the diagonals of corners.
No, my D-pad is not cooperating. Oh no. There we go. Also, say hello to Luigi. So we pick up those peppers, and they're actually battle items. The red pepper increases your attack, and the green increases defense. But they also give you like some status ailments as well.
Yeah, so when you eat a green pepper, your defense raises, but you're very floaty in battle. Like, when you jump, you take a lot longer to sink. The pepper is the opposite. It increases your offense, but you're heavy, so you don't jump as high and you fall slower in battles. So it makes dodging much more difficult. But there's actually a workaround for that, which Mermilio will be doing in the final boss.
Yeah, so right there I picked up the Mush Badge AA, and it's basically the Mush Badge with 40 extra power.
Yeah, it has the same formula, but it does give a bit more additional damage.
And,
so he does want to...
3 should be enough.
Yeah, he does want a couple of 1-up mushrooms, because, yeah, the final boss is extremely difficult in this game. And you actually will take an intended death on the an intended Mario KO on the final boss.
Yeah, so technically I just have 2 safety mushrooms, but I don't really intend to use them, because I feel that if the final boss kills one of the bros, she's definitely gonna kill both. Like, she's just that hard. So I'm kind of banking on just not getting hit.
Just do it perfect. It's that easy.
So, fun fact, because we never completed the Chacola quest and the University, ordinarily once you do those, you're supposed to return to Beanbean Castletown, and it's supposed to be repaired, and you're supposed to be able to just, go to all the shops, go explore everywhere in town. Because endgame, they blow up the town again, you never actually see Beanbean Kingdom Castletown restored.
Also,
Also,
new character.
the queen got better.
Yeah, this is the only time we actually see the queen normal.
And we trusted her immune system. I think it worked out for the best.
Alright, so the final dungeon is actually Bowser's Castle, and we need to fly up there, but luckily we met a friend early in the game that will help us out.
So the dinosaur with wings will actually help us out. To kind of give a little bit of story context, what was supposed to happen between the part where we did the big skip and endgame, you're supposed to defeat Cacletta, and she goes to Stardust Fields barely even alive, and finds an unconscious Bowser who... Aw, you missed the swag jump.
No double.
So she finds an unconscious Bowser who... Yeah, it turns out Rookie was actually Bowser all along. Who knew? And, yeah, after you beat him for the second time, he's knocked unconscious in a Stardust Field. And Fawful basically takes her soul and puts it inside Bowser. So this is actually Cackletta inside Bowser's body, which it makes for a slightly weird-looking sprite.
Yeah. And we have a skip coming up, and it's really the reason that we couldn't save throughout the run. We're going to be entering like an escape room of sorts, and usually there's a countdown timer that's going on while you're in the room, but if you don't have one, you just game over. And if you reset the game, you have no countdown timer, so we need one from the very beginning of the game.
So he's doing this dungeon basically backwards to get to the final boss. There's ordinarily an escape sequence that's supposed to trigger here, and you come out at the front end of the castle, and there's a 3-minute timer that's supposed to kill you. But if you come in, if you clip into that that little slot that you can go out in order to exit the castle quickly, you can walk all the way around and not have to do any of the final dungeons. So none of the 7 Koopalings fight. So
yeah, so we can actually save now.
So now we're going to go straight to the final boss.
Yeah, we took all that time to get to this dungeon. We just skipped it all. So say hello to Bowletta.
One thing to kind of is annoying to deal with Mario and Luigi final bosses, their attacks, they get many turns and they take quite a while on their attacks.
These orbs can actually heal, so if you're lucky you won't get any healing, and you can usually kill her with 3 turns. But I'm probably gonna have to take 4. Unless she gives me like a counter attack move.
This form has about 550 HP, but this is like most RPGs, final boss does not just have one form, so...
Alright, so this is the counter attack that I was talking about. There's actually random whether you do Luigi's power or Mario's power. So if Mario's power was being used, I would do 12 damage, but unfortunately I'm doing 1.
So in this state where she's all darkened, she actually has increased defense, but we can bypass any defense bonus with Chopper Bros and Mush Badge. Alright. They'd evened out.
And she's dead. Alright, so the second phase of the fight is like the real run killer, so I'm just gonna ask for some serious time, aside from when Ghost King explains some glitches.
Yeah, so the final form of Cackletta has 1200 HP, and you have to specifically target a part of her body which doesn't open up until you break the 2 arms and head. So this is Cackletta, or Cackletta's ghost, or soul. So we enter this fight with only 1 HP, because we've just been swallowed.
Classic marathon luck. That was the slowest possible first turn. She has a lot of RNG on what move she pulls out. Nice.
So this death on Mario is intentional. He wants Mario to go down so that when he brings him back with a 1-up, Mario does not have the heavy status effect, but due to a glitch in this game, Mario regains all of his strength bonus that he got from eating the red pepper. Damage is ridiculous. So that was calculated. So ideally we can get the heart in 3 turns.
So we get 2 turns per heart cycle. So if everything goes according to plan, we'll kill her in 2 cycles.
Second cycle's beginning. As you can see, the attacks get a little bit more complicated and more difficult as the fight goes on.
Oh. Alright, so hopefully she'll die after Luigi's turn. Nice. I got really scared near the end because I thought she gave me the super attack, and I was like so scared to try and dodge it.
Yeah, that super attack, she will start shooting colored projectiles that appear randomly on the screen as the visual cue, and they come at you pretty quickly, so it's actually really hard to counterattack, and one hit is an insta-kill because we're at such low HP levels and so under-leveled.
Yeah, and if that weren't enough, it also lags out the game, so like timing is way off. But now we see the actual escape, which is not even bad. They gave us 3 minutes, but we only need like 30 or 30 seconds, not 30 minutes.
This is the one time in I'd say the last half an hour that we're actually using a barrel as intended. A barrel that we picked up. So why is it that you can't use a stored barrel for that? Have you like lost the barrel storage command at this point?
Oh yeah, so by doing castle skip I lose the barrel commands, but there's a way to get it back, and I think it's possible in the Japanese version, but not on the English one.
So now that Cacoletto's soul is gone and the castle stuff to self-destruct, Bowser wakes up and yeah, not good. It's okay, he makes it to the next game.
Alright, so time is actually coming up. It's on the last text box, which is it's from Prince Peasley. So he's gonna pop up really soon.
Hey, we see the queen. We see the queen one more time. They kind of bonded as friends off screen.
And time. Uh, 1:24:01 is a pretty good time. Like, the world record's 1:16. But we always say that just completing a run of this is such a challenge that just getting anyone is nice. So we have some credits here. While the credits are going, I guess I can give some shout-outs. So first shout-out is to Alta Biscuit, who's the first real RTA runner that pushed the time down really far. Also the first person that I watched doing this run. Also shout-outs to Mug. He's the person that tasked the game. And also, just give a shout out to my co-commentator, Ghost King, right here.
It's my pleasure. Shout out to Merm for getting the run done without getting any game overs. I say that, but like it is way harder than I think a lot of people might just look at this and give it credit for. This is a very difficult run to just complete.
Yeah. Usually we base the learning the run is about 50% all of the game and 50% just fighting Kakaletta. So that's definitely the biggest run killer. I know, like, when I was first learning the game, I spent like almost an hour just on that segment alone.
Sadly, we went to the Toad Town with the embassy. There's actually a little cameo by Gino from Super Mario RPG in one of the little mini games. We didn't get to play the mini game, and I think that only appears in glitch lists. But shoutouts to the little random Gino cameo, which you see in the credits, like all rights reserved to Nintendo except for Gino, who's property of Square.
At the very end, it says, "All rights are mine, except Gino. Shoutouts." And whoops, we had to drop off Bowser. Didn't want him coming with our party, I guess.
So coming up here in just a bit, we'll do the glitch exhibition.
Yeah.
We've demonstrated a lot of glitches this run, but there's still quite a few more that can soft lock, hard lock, and just do all kinds of fun stuff with this game.
Yeah, there's a few glitches that they're just not used because either they're slow or they just don't do anything, but they have really wacky side effects, and good thing it was donated for because they're very, very nice. So, copyright, except Gino, reserved by Square Enix.
If I could get a real quick donation in, just at the end of the run here. We have our own Raging Cherry in the back, donating $30. Hoping to win a Switch, so Nintendo will finally announce the long-awaited high-definition remake of their competitive fighting platformer, Brawl HD.
This theater actually is... there is actually a movie theater filled with Yoshis in this game. It's part of the Beanstar quest.
So, now we're going to start the glitch exhibition. I'm actually going to use a different save file.
You had just straight-faced Luigi on this one.
Oops. Alright, so this is the one I prepared. First thing for all of the glitches, we need to get barrel storage. Yeah, so this trick can always be pretty finicky. So I think once I get it, I'm just gonna create a restore point so I don't have to go through this again. Still early. Yeah, just like to give insight on how optimized like the world record is. I think anything less than like third try barrel storage is like a reset.
This is kind of unfortunate because it's about 50 minutes into a normal 100% run.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I was trying practice of this. This was probably the start of me deciding, I don't know if I want to learn this game all the way through. I do find it a really interesting speed run.
Having a little bit of trouble.
Is it not I may be wrong on that.
On what?
No. I was thinking that panel reminds me of a place later in the game.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Where you can retake your photo. I think you get like different. It gives you different background, but that's actually supposed to deflect an incoming projectile with a switch. All right. Good old Pixel Vomit. We missed you. This is fine.
Yeah. So first cool little thing I want to show off is that if you clear all this away, there's actually just two Luigis here. This is just a visual glitch though. So like, if you leave the area or I guess he won't do it. Here we go. Oh wow. You can get hit by a fireball and oh, it's gone already. Whoops.
The Luigi and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Yeah, but he's just it's just a visual one, so.
Perfectly intended game mechanics.
Alright, so all these glitches, instead of using high jump for most of them, I'm actually going to be using barrel. So summoning barrel on the overworld, we can summon it without actually hopping on. If you hop on the barrel through the glitch commands, you actually just soft lock the game. So one other thing that we do want to get is a spin jump on Luigi. There we go. So a cool little. This one is also like a visual glitch, but there's some other aspects of it that are pretty interesting. So right here, you know, you can actually get swallow a bunch of water with Mario and become Fat Mario. You can spin jump on Mario with Luigi, and you can just take him around anywhere. So you can actually just move Mario out of this area, but he won't have the normal movement capabilities like normal. To get it back, you just spin jump again. But there's actually something else that's pretty cool. So Luigi can get Thunder Hand from the back, and if you do that with Fat Mario, you just do this forever and ever.
It soft locks this game.
Yep. You can also do it with Hammer, or not high jump, I think, because high jump isn't a glitch command normally. But yeah, I'm not doing anything, and I just can't. Another really cool glitch that this game has is you can actually clip through a lot of areas. Like, not just through like flying hat glitch, you can clip through doors and stuff when the requirements for the clip is right. So we're actually gonna head over to the castle town to show that off. So normally I believe the sequence of this save file right now is right after we save the castle, but right before we go to the desert for the first time. So this is the first like destruction, but you can see this area is actually closed off. But if I glitch everything out, there we go. So another restore point right here. Yeah, a lot of the glitches have this pixel vomit side effect. A lot of weird sounds happen too.
It's very modern art. It's good. You got it.
Oops. Crashed accidentally.
I wouldn't have known.
There we go. Okay. Let me get one more restore point so I don't mess this up.
This is all very scientific. You should put a lab coat on while you're doing this.
So, this is happening. And we're in the coffee house.
So who wants a cup of Joe?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, so everything actually works. We can actually make some coffee. I brought some beans just so we could have a nice cup. Oops. There we go. And like I tested this out. It actually surprises me that like everything in here works, even though you shouldn't be able to get here for like another hour. But when you actually make coffee, some sweet cutscenes actually happen. Like I don't think that that ghost is supposed to be in this game normally. And look, another character. So like something actually pretty funny to note is that before EGAD was in this game, they would put a bunch of random Nintendo characters, so you could see like Olimar or Fox from Star Fox in these cutscenes, but they fixed it before they finished the game. Oops, I don't want to get more beans. See ya. And the town's actually fixed now that we went in the coffee shop, but this is all just, for some reason, it's just fake because you exit and come back in. And
Oh no!
for 5 seconds. And I'm gonna do one last glitch, which is my personal favorite. So just to give some like backstory on this glitch, it was found like a few years ago by AltaBiscuit on accident. And it was never able to be replicated until a few months ago when I did it consistently. But I did it. I think I did it about 100 times. But then, like suddenly, a few days later, it just stopped working. I have to set some stuff up too. So it seems like just whether your Wii U is having a good day or not, whether it works. But first thing we need to do is we have to fix our action commands again. So okay, we have that one, and we also want, or we can do that on the other side. So yeah, it was never been able to it was never able to be replicated until I found it out again. But we just can't figure out why it doesn't work all the time. But apparently it's something to do with the emulation. Like it's like an emulator issue with the Virtual Console. Let's see. Wait, do I need someone? All right, sorry about this. I'm pretty. This glitch is just so complicated.
So what you're saying is that it will be consistent when this game makes it on the Switch's Virtual Console, right?
Maybe.
So you'll have to invest inside of the Switch, which you can get for actually donating $30 or more as part of a donation incentive.
That was smooth.
It may or may not be true, anything that I just mentioned in reference to this game or the Switch's library.
But it is true in reference to getting the Switch.
Getting a barrel right here could be a little tricky because the corner. There we go. We got high jump, yes. We can do it again. There we go. So now we have 2 barrels, because 2 is always better than 1. But normally you're never supposed to get a barrel with Mario. You can only summon barrels onto Luigi. So when you do it with Mario, the game just freaks out. And it warps a thing called Void Barrel, which is what I'll be using to do this. Oh, what was that? So there's 2 void barrels right there.
It's like out of a 70s mystery cartoon.
Oh, didn't work. Maybe on the Switch.
Can you explain what's supposed to be going on here?
Yeah, so there's a 1% chance, probably less than that. You could actually warp into the Mario Bros. Game from Superstar Saga. Yeah, there's like 2 videos on YouTube if you ever want to check it out. But yeah, that's gonna end off the glitch exhibition. And,
I don't
thanks.
know if I don't know if the mic caught it, but I think my favorite part of that glitch exhibition is right when that happened. You just got this error beep that just
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out of the console.
Yeah, so thanks for having Superstar Saga in the marathon. No, the Wii U's fine actually. I know it doesn't look like it, but
This is fine. This is perfectly normal.
It's just ET and the Atari 2600.
Almost looks better.